understand how to my plug talk, plug talk, plug talk.
We just got some news here the past couple days that the Cardinals announced that they're going to cut Chosen Anderson, the artist formerly known as Robbie Anderson, which I think is fine. He had bricks for hands and just wasn't really getting the job done. But if we're going to take a look at the wide receiver room and now what the Cardinals have to work with, of course, there's some rumors swirling about Deandre Hopkins, and we can get into that. But right now we have, of course, Marquise Brown. For this next season, we're paying him $13.5 million. Of course, Rondale Moore is on the roster through 2024 and going to get $1.2 million for this season. You know, Antoine Wesley, I was looking him up. He's an ERFA. Teams can offer their in-house ERFAs a 1-year league minimum contract. And if an ERFA player is offered a league minimum tender by his club, i.e. in this case, the Cardinals, then he's not eligible to negotiate with any other teams. So basically the Cardinals got some cuffs on him, and I imagine Antoine Wesley's probably not going anywhere. I mean, we saw him in the introductions for the new head coach, and he was dapping up everyone. So he's in the building, he's there. We got this guy, Andre Baccalia, who was on and off the roster. He's another ERFA guy. And then Javon Wims, I didn't even know he was on the roster, if we're being perfectly honest, but we're paying him $1.1 million for the next 2 seasons, which he's basically making just as much money as Rondale Moore, which just kind of blows my mind. I mean, you sign this guy off the streets. It looks like he had a couple seasons with the Bears and then just riding practice squads since then. But I believe in giving a man his shot. You know, he's in his late 20s, so getting up there. But if he can play smart, if he can run his routes, sure, we'll put him at the end of the bench. But not just talking about the wide receivers, though. Of course, that's the focus here. But other targets for Kyler Murray is going to be Zach Ertz and Trey McBride. I really liked what Trey McBride did in the absence of Zach Ertz this last season, but it's going to be I'm hoping that can be a pretty decent 1-2 punch. And I just worry though, like I wonder who else is out there that the Cardinals can go after here in free agency. I know there's a lot of names that are technically free agents, but could be re-signed. I know one in particular I had my eye on was Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know how he would fit in with this roster, but I think if he can find a way back to the Chiefs, he's going to do that. But honestly, the biggest question mark right now is, of course, DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't mention him there. I mean, Mike, what have you been hearing about D-Hop?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Gannon and Monty Austin-Fort have both kind of put the form out that it might be time for the Cardinals to part ways with DeAndre Hopkins. And, you know, I was very happy with the production that he had with this team, but there were still, you know, the incidents like that 6-game suspension that just killed momentum to start this season. But I guess word at the combine is that all it might take is just a 2nd-round pick. I think the Cardinals are looking preferably to get 2 picks, but the highest is probably just going to be a 2nd-rounder. But he's still a big contributor and can help a franchise that's looking to make a playoff run. But sounds like he's due $19 million for 2023, and he's currently slated to count more than $30 million against the cap. Whew. So, you know, Cardinals are looking to make a move here and open up some assets for free agency and whatever kind of other draft picks they bring in. But I saw there's 3 interesting trade rumors for a couple of destinations where D-Hop might find himself. First one was the Patriots. They have pick 46. And despite a breakout from Jacoby Myers last year, you know, they're looking to revamp that offense and get some help for Mac Jones. He had a sophomore slump, and hopefully he can turn the corner. The other crazy one was the Kansas City Chiefs. They have pick 63. And like you said, I think a big thing with that is just going to depend on if they keep Juju. It might just be simpler for them to keep him or draft somebody, you know, in the later rounds. I think the biggest risk that the Chiefs are looking at, once again, is his age and the amount of money that you have to pay him. But the most interesting one to me that I saw was the New York Giants, you know, an up-and-coming team who made it to the 2nd round. And, you know, they're going to have to pay Danny Dimes a pretty penny. But, you know, Kenny Golladay was just kind of a major bust, man. And Wan'Dale Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins, they have plenty of promise, but they still don't know what's going on with Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. I mean, the other things I did see, D-Hop, he's been spending a lot of time in Dallas, and he said, I keep hearing y'all say my name around here. They're looking to add some more weapons with CD Lamb and Michael Gallup. But it sounds like D-Hop might have two destinations at the top of his list, which are Jacksonville and the LA Chargers. So very interesting what's going on right now. I think it's only a matter of time for some kind of trade to happen. Could see it before the draft or on draft day, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, I think DeAndre Hopkins' time with the Cardinals is done. We'll bid him adieu, and we'll keep looking to figure out what's next, man, and add some more pieces.
I agree, and I think we're ready to move on from DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, we love the Hail Murray, and that was fun, but there's just like the 6-game suspension and all the noise. It's just, I think it's time to move on. And he's only a 30-year-old receiver. He's going to be 31 this upcoming season, which not the craziest, but when you're talking about a wide receiver that's has a lot of miles on him, it might be time. I mean, with releasing Chosen Anderson, once they do that, that's going to clear up $12 million in cap space. And looking at our wide receiver room, Marquise Brown's really the only one who's eaten up cap there at $13.5 million. Like I said, I think that leaves plenty of space for us to be able to sign someone else. And I really hope they do, because Kyler Murray needs weapons. And we thought this last season that he really had those in these guys, but ultimately just wasn't able to put it together. I know that's Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and now we're going to have Jonathan Gannon coming in with his staff and his plan. And so we'll have to see. I mean, Juju is just 26 years old. Again, might stay with the Chiefs, but for my money, that could be an interesting prospect to pursue. I did want to ask you just one more thing, Mike. You mentioned him potentially wanting to go to the Jaguars. Do you think that, or how should I word this? Are you glad that we didn't pay Christian Kirk, or do you wish that we had now?
Hindsight's always 2020. I mean, he had a very productive year for Jacksonville. He fits within their offense. Trevor Lawrence is an up-and-coming star, already has a playoff win under his belt. Obviously, you hope that you can keep those kind of assets around, especially since Christian Kirk is a Valley kid. He
Right.
went to high school here. You always love to have those kind of guys for your fan bases. But hindsight's 2020. Of course, I wish we could have kept him, especially with now what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, absolutely. So all eyes on the Cardinals and DeAndre Hopkins. We got the draft coming up pretty soon. It's really going to be interesting to see what moves they make. And I do expect that they're going to make moves. I mean, we have that third pick. So are we going to trade down? Are we going to move out of that spot? I mean, I was looking at a mock draft that had us taking Jalen Carter, which might have been an old mock because he's getting into a little trouble. But all eyes on this wide receiver room for me, because for my money, I think we need to make some additions right now. Marquise Brown didn't quite show out like I think we all had hoped he would last year, but maybe he gets another shot here to be the number one guy once we ship out D-Hop. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out, as I know many Cardinals fans are.